So hello everybody and welcome to another episode of Curious Careers. My name is Sarah Juillet. I am the Director of Postgraduate Careers and Professional Development at Cass Business School. And today I'm thrilled to welcome Irina Fransson, who is the Head of EMEA Entry-Level Recruitment at Bloomberg. So welcome, Irina.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Sarah. Great to be here. It's a great initiative you have going.
Fantastic. Thank you very much. So first of all, can we kick off by really you explaining what Bloomberg's all about? What is the company? Tell us something about it.
Yeah, sure. So Bloomberg is a global information and technology company. Our customers are based all around the world, and they rely on us to deliver accurate real-time business and market information that helps them make financial decisions. And we do that through various products that we offer. We also, of course, have our own news organization that some of you might be familiar with. We have around 20,000 employees globally across, wow. I believe we're at 176 offices at this point. Our London office is our EMEA headquarter, and here we have around 4,000 employees.
Wow, so a really large company, and I didn't know they had so many global locations. That's fantastic. So can you tell us?
A lot of them are quite small. Yeah. A lot of them are quite small satellite news offices, okay. But we do have hubs across each of the continents.
That's really interesting. So can you tell us something about the different entry points for people that are looking for opportunities at Bloomberg?
Of course. So for graduates, we normally talk about kind of three of our main intakes or graduate entry points. One is within sales and analytics, which is traditionally the most popular one for Cass students. This is our sales and financial trainings program. Then we have global data, which is a more technical data analyst role. And then we also have Bloomberg customer support, which is our customer service team. Then we do also hire small numbers into all of our corporate functions as well as engineering.
Okay, excellent. And have you hired people from Cass Business School before? And if so, what can you tell me about the Cass difference?
We definitely do hire a fair number actually each year, a fair number. As I was just saying earlier, mainly into sales and analytics, because that is quite aligned to the degrees that you have. But we're also seeing more and more people being interested in the data analyst roles. What I would say about Cass events, first of all, they're events that we do enjoy attending. They're always very well planned and well organized, and the people that we meet during the events are often impresses us. And then when it comes to people who are in the process, or people who are coming in for interviews with us, one thing where I would say you do stand out is that you do seem to have quite a strong alumni network at Bloomberg. And that this is a network that you do leverage really well. So people who are coming in for interviews from Cass, quite often, they already know the company very well. They know the roles they've applied for, which is obviously a huge help for us and an advantage, because then the interviewer can focus a lot more around understanding where someone's skill set fits into the company and to the role. So
that's great to hear, Irina, because it's something we strongly encourage that people should do their research, chat to alumni in companies, and I know we have a really great alumni network at Bloomberg that are usually very willing to talk to current students and indeed other alumni that are looking to apply for roles at Bloomberg. So that's great. So what's your view in terms of advanced degrees? How are they perceived at Bloomberg?
So in many ways, I guess, it's definitely not something which is a requirement for Bloomberg for our entry-level roles. It's not necessarily even an advantage in some cases. We do have a very robust training program within all of our entry points. There are some roles on the technical side, so within engineering and global data, where an advanced degree might give you a bit of an edge if it's within a certain specialization. But from the main graduate roles, it's not necessarily something that will make a difference. I think where it does make a difference is if you then consider Bloomberg for maybe a second or a third job, and you'll have an advanced degree that is relevant and with application, as well as experience. I think at that point, obviously, can come in quite handy. I do, however, absolutely understand that people want to take on higher education and more advanced degrees, and I think that makes sense because it does open up other opportunities. But my advice then would be that if you do want to go for your advanced degrees, to do it straight away, straight after your bachelor's, as opposed to going away, come back after a couple of years and disrupting your career. Obviously, except for MBAs, because you would tend to do your MBAs whilst working.
That's great. Really good information. And you've highlighted what an international company Bloomberg is. So are there language requirements to your roles or to your programs?
We absolutely welcome languages. We do. We love languages. As I was saying earlier, especially in EMEA, London is our headquarters for Europe. So we do serve all of our European clients from London, and we do take pride in being able to offer them the local language as support if they want it. So we absolutely love languages. It's not a requirement, because we also have many roles where we don't need it, but we do need it in order to service our clients, and also some of our data roles. We still need to have the language capabilities. And I think it's also going to be very helpful as we're looking towards a post-Brexit environment, where someone with a language who's been studying in the UK, who's already in the country, will obviously be a huge advantage once we're in the new year.
That's really, really good information. So knowing Bloomberg and having worked with Bloomberg on campus, etc., for a long time, and knowing that you've got this very fantastic smart building in the city, I know you're very welcoming of students into that environment and do lots of events. And of course, with the current challenges we have, how have you adapted that kind of process in terms of students getting to know Bloomberg?
Yeah. It's tough. I mean, it is very tough, as you said. I think we always take pride in people meeting lots of people from Bloomberg to really get a sense of the culture. Obviously, our office is key to what we do, and it really the office itself speaks around collaboration and speaks about diversity, and it's sustainability, and it really showcases a lot of those things that we care so greatly about. And now we can't use it, and I think that's a challenge for all the companies. Obviously, that you have to first of all go back and build a virtual brand, as well as also figuring out how you get your culture across from someone's living room or spare bedroom, like in this case. It's not always easy. So we are still very much finalizing what that will look like throughout the autumn, but we are looking at a kind of two-way strategy, both from a kind of high touch as well as strategy from looking at more intimate and personalized events. But I do think there are some positives with the high touch events, both for employers and for graduates and students this year. From a company perspective, we can reach so many more students this way than what we could do if we actually had to go on campus into universities. The other day, we had a webinar for 3,500 students. We've never done anything. I know, it's crazy. We've never done anything that size before. If you go to a fair, you would be lucky if you speak to a few hundreds, just because of the sheer time it takes to address people. And also we can reach an audience much further away, and which can also then attract different types of diversity and different type of candidate than that we would normally find. And I think the same applies for you as students and graduates, in that you can also explore so many more employers through company presentations or skill sessions. You can explore other industries, regions, countries in a way that you couldn't have done before when you had to meet with the companies in person. So I do think that the high touch webinar structure, I think, is beneficial, and probably also what will then remain in place even post COVID. And then obviously we're going to focus a lot more on these more personal, smaller events with universities and with societies, and they will be focused both on students and graduates getting to know us as a company through company presentations, but also about upskilling sessions that will hopefully be really useful going forward as well.
That's actually really great advice, that, the current situation, although people might feel that it's prohibitive to get to know companies, it can actually provide a lot of options and windows into companies that maybe you hadn't considered previously. So how have you adapted your recruitment and onboarding process? Because assuming that's also been interrupted and challenged by the current situation.
Yeah, very much. Yeah, that was also flipped on its head, of course. Unlike many other companies that look to hire graduates, we do hire graduates throughout the year. So we don't just have that kind of autumn intake. We do get people in throughout the year, which also meant that we were in the middle of our recruitment drive in the spring when we all went into lockdown. So we had to flip everything to be fully virtual, which clearly there were some challenges with that. I mean, who has not been on some failed video calls over the past couple of months? But I would say overall the experience has been very positive.
Right.
For us, I think we do feel a positive impact from a sustainability perspective in that we don't travel candidates in-house, whether it's from overseas or whether it's from around the UK, but rather we do it virtually. There's also a time saving both for us and for students and graduates, which again means that they can engage with more companies if they want to. And I think from the initial analysis and what we've seen so far, there hasn't been a negative impact on the candidate experience, nor has there been a negative impact on the quality of hire. In EMEA alone, to give you some numbers, since we went into lockdown, we've made 50 additional hires. That number globally is 250, just on the graduate side. We've onboarded in London 80 full-time graduate hires, and over 100 interns have joined our summer internship. And of course, again, globally, those numbers are in the hundreds. So I think whilst I fully understand that this is a very scary and uncertain time for students and for graduates, there are companies hiring, and the companies that do bring people on board, they do have very solid onboarding processes in place by now. So I wouldn't be worried.
That's really good to know. Very reassuring. Thank you, Irina. And in terms of some of those changes, are there any that you feel that when lockdown's fully lifted and perhaps business returns to a bit more usual practice, are there any that you really feel that you'll continue using going forwards?
Yeah, so I think both from the attraction strategy side, as I was mentioning earlier, I do definitely see the benefit on webinars for more of the high touch events and engaging with students. Recruitment wise, absolutely. I think the same applies there. I think realities will end up somewhere in the middle. I don't think we're ever going to go back to a full in-house process again, because we have seen the advantages of being in a virtual process. And we haven't seen any downsides to it just yet. But of course, we want to bring people in, especially as we hire them. We want to bring them in and see them before we make the final offer. We want them to kind of come in and see the building, get a real sense of the culture. But I definitely think there are some great opportunities to think about everything from sustainability to cost to time. Absolutely.
Yeah, sure. That sounds fantastic. So perhaps just finally to touch on, you mentioned that you recruit all year round. What potential opportunities might there be coming up in the next year for CAS graduates that they might want to consider? Yeah.
So we are still hiring a little bit, I would say, for the rest of this year for starts in 2020. But we are pretty much completed with the hiring because we have people coming in between now and the year end. But we will soon be kicking off our 2021 hiring. And that will then include start dates with everything from January and through to December. So each month pretty much. And we will be opening those roles for all of those 3 intakes that I mentioned. So sales and analytics, global data, and Bloomberg customer support. So they will all have openings available, and they should be up probably in the next month or so.
Okay, well, that's fantastic. So just some advice to students and potential students coming to CAS to keep checking the Bloomberg website, but also CAS Careers Online, where hopefully we'll be putting those opportunities up there for you to apply to. So I'd just like to say thank you very much, Irene. It's been great chatting to you today. I think it's a fantastic company to work for and very much sits with the CAS of ethos around collaboration and sustainability. And I'm very pleased to know that you've had some great graduates there from CAS in the past and a strong alumni network. So thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me. Thank you.
Thank you.